Hi, I'm here.
Hi Maria, thank you for coming in today. I know this is our third meeting, but I wanted to talk about confidentiality and see what you remember from that. So do you remember anything what confidentiality is?
Yeah, basically what I discuss here will stay here unless I want to harm myself or somebody else.
You got it. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good. So what are your thoughts today? How are you feeling?
Overall, I've been feeling much better. Since I started working on the journal assignments that you've given me, I'm starting to just feel, I don't know, a little bit more calm, like looking at these patterns I have and like writing them down. But then on the same token, I'm having a lot of anxiety when I'm not doing it.
So what I hear you saying is that you feel calm and you feel better doing it when you are doing it, but when you're not doing it, it's stressful and provokes anxiety?
Yeah, because like I'll be doing like the dishes or the laundry, or I'll go to work and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be filling out this sheet, and like I'll think about it and like ruminate over it for like hours. And it can just cause me a lot of distress, and it's so silly because it's just like a piece of paper.
Do you know any body functions or kind of like anything that happens whenever you think these feelings or think these thoughts?
Yeah, let me look back and try to think. I think I start to kind of clench my jaw, and I think I get sweaty, and I get that like slight pain in my chest again.
And what does that feel like?
It feels kind of like, sounds kind of severe, but almost like sharp knives or like sharp pains. That's what the chest part feels like.
And what do you think is going to happen when you have that? Do you think anything's happening to you or anything like that?
Well, you know, the chest pains had been like pretty severe in the past. That's kind of the reason why I'm here, and I thought it was heart disease. And so, like, through these test results and like working with you and like seeing my anxiety level, I'm starting to notice that like maybe it's not heart disease and maybe it's anxiety, because it seems like it's taking, you know, a form through my body with like the sweating and the pain and the jaw stuff.
So does it feel like it's taking over, taking control of you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it has in the past, and that's whenever it was resulted in like the hospital emergency room stuff. But now it's a little bit better. It's still there, but like I know that that it's not a heart attack.
Okay. So you said that it's getting a little better. What have you done to make it better?
I think that like, you know, coming to therapy weekly and like the journals, although at times it can cause me kind of some nervousness about like not finishing it, but what makes it better? So I guess the journaling makes it better, and like, you know, starting to believe like the doctor's test results and like trusting that, you know.
How often have you done this journaling? How many times? I know we made it for homework, but how many times have you completed it?
I think on average about 5 out of 7 days.
Okay, so that's a good start. I mean, that's also obviously a positive thought, right? Or positive process, right?
Right.
Okay. Can you give me an example of maybe when these attacks happen most?
You know, through my like logging and kind of exploring the events that were occurring before I went to the hospital, public speaking at work really freaks me out, and also like my perception of what my employers are thinking. I'm thinking that they're thinking I'm crazy, that I'm an unreliable worker because I had to call off for these hospital stays that essentially resulted in nothing. There was nothing wrong with me medically. And so, you know, it's a lot of it is stemming from work, you know, and then I have my family kind of thinking that I'm nuts. And so I'm just kind of like have these pressures from all these different directions.
So let's go back to your work. You said that you think maybe they think you're crazy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm wondering what makes you think they're crazy. What makes you think that they think you're crazy?
Because I kind of proclaimed I'm having a heart attack,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm all dramatic, and this did not happen just once.
Mm-hmm.
And I come back, and there's nothing wrong with me. It's interfering with my work.
Have they told you anything that makes you think that you're?
No, but they have to think that.
And what makes you think they have to think that?
Because when people go to the hospital for mental health reasons, it's because they're crazy.
I mean.
I guess that's more of my belief
Mm-hmm.
because of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
It's getting deep.
okay. So, but you don't. Other than that, you don't really think that they have any evidence, or you have any evidence that maybe they think you're crazy and stuff like that.
I feel like they look at me weird in the break room.
Mm-hmm. And when they do that, what are you thinking?
That's how someone would look if they thought the person they were looking at was crazy.
Mm. Okay, I can imagine it's very stressful. What do you do anything to avoid that?
I won't eat lunch and I'll stay at my desk.
Okay, so what are things that we can do to maybe help you confront these people, or maybe confront your anxiety?
Yeah.
What do you think? I can imagine that's very stressful. I shouldn't put that on you.
No, that's a really good thought. I think by you saying, like, what makes you think they think that?
Mhm.
I don't have any evidence.
Mhm.
I think it's more of, like, my beliefs about what I'm going through.
Mhm.
So maybe, despite how uncomfortable it might be, I sit in the lunchroom during break.
Mhm. And do you want to just sit in there for the first time and then maybe talk to somebody? Is that something you could work up to?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. I think, so for that goal, we're going to have you sit in the conference room, and then we'll talk about how that felt on the next meeting,
Yeah.
and then we'll possibly just explore talking to them and having a conversation with them. So going back to your public speaking, what do you think we can do to kind of help you? What seems comfortable to you that we can maybe try?
Just remove public speaking altogether.
But do you think that's possible for your job?
No. They're already really frustrated with me.
Mm-hmm. That's very stressful. Well, maybe one thing that you can do is you can practice your speech, and you can practice in front of people that you're comfortable with, and then possibly go to strangers next or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, we can come back and explore how you felt, and then you can apply that to your job. Does that sound something like you can do?
Yeah, and I have another public speaking event at work in about a month. So maybe if I can slowly start to work on being prepared. I know in the past I never prepared, and then the day would come and I would freak out because I didn't have anything prepared.
Mm-hmm. Do you think preparation will help that?
I don't know. It can't hurt. It's not something I've tried in the past, so I'm willing.
Okay, so preparing for your speech and sitting in the break room are going to be two things that you're going to work on between now and our next meeting next Monday.
How long do I have to do these journal entries for?
That's a good point. We should probably talk about that a little bit. So,
do I continue to do it the route that I'm going?
Yeah, you can continue to do it. You did it 5 out of 7 times, so maybe we can try for 6 out of 7 days and see how you think about that next Monday.
Yeah. And I also want to talk about, I just kind of need to process it, reconnecting with my sister.
Okay. And what do you want to process?
So I know last time we met, we talked about how she wanted to reconnect with me, and that my mother had passed away. She committed suicide, but I also feel like my family thinks that I am like my mother, and like I too think that they think I'm crazy, and so I'm like trying to avoid connecting with them out of like fear, I guess, but I also want my family. I need my people, so I don't know what to do.
And have you reached out to them and contacted them?
My sister reached out to me.
Sister reached out to you. And how did you feel whenever she did that?
I felt annoyed at first, like, oh, here's my sister. Everything's so great in her life. She's got time to check on me. But then afterwards, I was kind of like, man, I miss my sister. So we've been talking on the phone, and we met up a couple of times.
So there was some hesitancy to kind of talk to your sister at first because you thought that your family thought you were crazy and stuff like that. But you feel maybe that it's a relief that you're talking to your family and your sister and trying to explore reconnecting with them?
At certain points, it feels like a relief, and then other times it feels like a burden. So like I'm just so used to being alone, and not having to think about, oh, I made plans to call my sister or have dinner. It's almost like a hindrance on my day. But that's just selfish.
And what makes you think it's selfish?
That I could potentially not want to be, establishing a relationship with my sister because it stresses me out too much to think about calling her when I said I would. It's kind of selfish.
Okay, but maybe you just noticed that you do need some alone time, and that calling your sister is maybe adding something to the schedule that you don't want. But maybe you think that you should have some alone time, but also you need to reconnect with your family a little bit. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does make sense. But I feel like since I live alone and I'm single, that I have tons of alone time. Why is it stressing me out to like keep commitments?
That's a good question. Yeah. So, like we've done before, do you think there's a solution to that from you, coming from you first? I'll ask you.
I just know that when I do hang out with her, I feel better. When I call her, I do feel better. And if I needed to cancel or not feel up to calling, I don't think she'd be mad.
So maybe, do you think that you can schedule days to have your alone time and have also days where you can hang out with her and stuff like that? Do you think maybe she would be up for something like that too? Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right, so to recap, we want to work on your public speaking. So you want to practice that before your speech, and then we can talk about that next Monday and how your thought was, prepare for that. You want to talk to your sister about planning days and having some alone time and having some time with your sister. And then the last goal we talked about was
a journal.
What's it? Oh, so the last goal we talked about was to make your journal, write your journal 6 out of 7 days instead of 5 out of 7 days. How do those goals sound to you?
They sound doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll explore this a little next week whenever you come back. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, Wednesday at 5?
Monday. Monday at 5.
Today's not Wednesday?
Today is Monday.
All right, I'll see you next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you.